If you've been feeling like you're falling behind in life, especially in your late 20s or early 30s, I want you to know that you're not alone. Seriously, this is so common that I feel like it should have its own support group. There's this weird unspoken pressure that we're supposed to hit the same milestones by a certain age, and if we don't, it feels like we're spiraling. Sometimes it feels like everyone else got a secret manual on how to do life, and yours got lost in the mail. Maybe you're still in the stage of figuring out your career path, or maybe you just figured out how to fold a fitted sheet, or perhaps you just remembered to drink enough water today, and that is still considered a win. But meanwhile, it feels like everyone else is getting married, buying houses, and you're sitting there and you're wondering, why isn't this happening for me? But I want to tell you the truth. You are not behind. You're in the planting season, and this is the stage where you're learning, you're growing, and you are putting in the reps to become who you want to be. You're not supposed to have it all figured out right now. You are figuring it out as you go, and that is what makes it beautiful. So if your brain is feeling overwhelmed with all of these shoulds, then this video is here to help you zoom out, look at the big picture, reset that made-up timeline that we created for ourselves, and reconnect with where you actually are versus where you think you should be. If you're new here, hi, my name is Andrea. My channel is about romanticizing the little things, feeling joy in your everyday life, and I also post cozy music every now and then too. Think of me as your cozy internet sister who is here to remind you that you're doing a lot better than you think. I'd love it if you stayed for a while, so please hit that subscribe button to see more of my videos. I also post a lot on Instagram and TikTok too, and we've created this awesome cozy little community, and I would love for you to be a part of it. So let's start by taking a deep breath, grabbing your favorite beverage. I have tea because I know I'm going to be yapping a lot in this video, and let's reframe that whole falling behind myth together. Number one, the myth of falling behind. Okay, I want to start with a little reminder. The idea that you're falling behind is completely made up. Truly, no one knows what they're doing. They are just getting better at looking like they do. It's fabricated and brought to you by societal pressure and comparison. Society has given us this invisible checklist. Get a degree by the time you're 22, secure a stable job by the time you're 25, get married by the time you're 28, and have a house by the time you're 30. Even if we miss a step, even by a little bit, it makes it feel like we've completely messed up, like we're late or we're failing or even both. But here's the thing, life is not a race and it's not linear whatsoever. There's no finish line that you're supposed to be sprinting toward. I may get a lot of hate for this, but some people peak in high school. Some people find their dream job when they're 40, and some people don't know what they truly love until their kids have kids. Most of us are just honestly figuring it all out as we go. And another thing to keep in mind too is that progress is not linear. And a lot of times it's not something that's visible. Sometimes it means getting a full night's rest, being able to say no without over-explaining, finally choosing rest without feeling ashamed, getting through a really difficult week when everything felt extremely heavy, or even showing up when you really didn't want to. This is all considered progress. And the problem is we've been conditioned to believe that if what we achieve isn't social media worthy or viral worthy, then it's not worth posting about or celebrating. But I promise you that the invisible work that you are doing for yourself, it matters and it will compound throughout your life. But we've been conditioned to think that if we don't celebrate those things, that it doesn't count. But the quiet growth that you're doing for yourself, that's the thing that matters. The stuff that no one sees, the healing, the setting boundaries, showing up for yourself, that's where the real transformation is. So if you feel like you're behind, just remember, you are not a timeline, you're not a checklist, and you're not a failure. You are a person who is writing their own story at their own pace. Number two, everyone is on a different timeline. Here's something that's wild and also incredibly freeing. You can be 29 and not know what your thing is, but you might stumble into it when you're 33 with a coffee in your hand and an existential crisis in the other. You can walk away from a career that you spent 10 plus years building, and then you can discover something that's aligned with you 10 times more. And by the way, you are allowed to mourn what didn't work out. That's just part of life. At the end of the day, everyone's timeline is different and yours is still valid. It doesn't have to match anyone else's to feel meaningful. Maybe your 20s are your figuring it out years. Maybe your 30s are your rebuilding and healing years. Maybe you're absolutely thriving in your 40s and you're thanking your past self for not rushing the process. Some people meet their person at 19. Some people get married at 45. I even read a story the other day that this couple is getting married at 75 years old. So yeah, you're not too late. Some people buy their first home in their 20s. Some people rent their houses instead. And that is totally okay. Some people are living the tiny house dreams and others are choosing to travel instead. There's no one size fits all. There never was. Now, I want to acknowledge something that's also really important too. If you're thinking, Andrea, these traditional milestones, I really want to achieve them. The healthy relationship, the stable job, the home, I want all of it, but it feels so far away. Your feelings are completely valid, but wanting beautiful and fulfilling things is not the problem. Having a life that feels joyful, safe, secure, and filled with love and purpose, like who wouldn't want that? If that life feels far away for you right now, I just want you to know that you are not a failure. It just means that your story is still unfolding. There are still steps that you need to figure out first. Anything good and worth building takes time. Sometimes it shows up differently than what we imagined. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're growing toward it until we're actually there. But here's the thing, planting those seeds matters, even if they grow a lot slower than you hoped. All these seeds that we're planting, they all bloom in unexpected ways. We have all felt that pressure to achieve all these things by the time we're 30, like that Pinterest-worthy home, having the perfect relationship, landing that dream job. But just because that timeline exists, it doesn't mean that it was meant to be for you. And it could be for you, but maybe just not right now. Your path was never meant to look like anyone else's. Like, could you imagine if everyone's Pinterest board or home or personality was exactly the same? Like, it would be so boring. I don't know about you, but having a life that actually feels like mine, waking up in peace, having joy, appreciating the little things, those things matter to me. And to me, that is much more important than being on schedule. So no, you're not late. You are on time for your life right now. You are laying the foundation for something that is truly yours. And honestly, that life is always worth the wait. Number 3, focus on building, not catching up. If you're feeling like you're falling behind, which you might, and that's probably why you clicked on this video, it might be because you're spending a lot more time measuring than building. And it's not your fault. Comparison is everywhere. Social media makes it feel like we're falling short in so many different places, and it feels like we're behind on this invisible scoreboard. But the truth is, for the people that you admire, they are further along in their own journey. They're not ahead of you. You're just in a different lane. So instead of trying to catch up to these people, I want you to shift your focus to building. I recommend starting small. Like, ask yourself these questions. What skills do I want to grow? What kind of life would I feel good waking up to? What can I start working on today that future self will thank me for? What can I let myself learn and be bad at and still do it anyway? Because here's the thing. Not all progress is loud. Sometimes it looks like choosing rest. Sometimes it's learning how to set boundaries. Sometimes it's just trying again after having a really hard day. When you stop rushing and start noticing, you'll start to realize that good things are already in motion. Look at the big picture and take a look at what's already working for you. What part of your routine is helping you stay grounded? Are there little pockets of joy, even if it's for 5 minutes in your day? That's where you could start. And that's where I recommend building from. Not what you think you should be doing and not what that person is doing on TikTok. You are the one who is living your own life. You are the one who has to set these foundations. When you start focusing on the things that you can control, such as your habits, your energy, the rest will start to shift too. I cannot stress this enough. The building stage matters. It's the unglamorous middle part where everyone gives up. But this is where everything important happens. So many people are watching what others are doing to the point where they're trying to copy them instead of actually figuring out what works for you. But just remember this, at the end of the day, you are the one who is waking up to your life. You're the one who gets to put in the effort, the care, the consistency, even the quiet kind is what helps build something beautiful. It took me 8 years to build my photography, videography, and recording studio. And I'm going to be honest, I still feel like I'm learning a lot, but it took me a really long time to get to this point where I feel confident in my decision making. And in a way, I feel like I'm still just getting started. I get so excited and I'm so grateful that I can wake up to this life because I spent almost a decade working towards a life that I really wanted. Because the more you build, the more you learn about your craft, the more you learn about your own values and what actually works for you. Honestly, the growth never really ends, but you get better at handling it and you start to trust yourself more. So if you're still figuring out what you're into, I implore you to please take the time and allow yourself to discover what lights you up. Get curious. Dabble in some stuff a little bit. Like a lot of times, like people don't know what they're into unless they try. You're allowed to take this time. You are allowed to go at your own pace. You're allowed to rest when you need to. You are allowed to grow quietly without having to prove anything to anyone. So please don't rush this part. This is the figuring it out, throwing paint at the wall stage. Let it take the time that it needs. Number 4, clarity comes from movement. You don't need to have it all figured out to take the next step. Honestly, most people don't. They just move forward with what they do know and they figure it out as they go. See, and that's the trick. Clarity and confidence does not come first. It comes after you start moving. Like after a few messy attempts and a few oh no's, doing the same things over and over again will eventually feel less scary. You start building confidence by putting in the reps, not by waiting around until you feel ready. So if your life feels very chaotic right now, if things feel uncertain, unfinished, not Pinterest worthy, I just want you to know that you're not off track. You're not broken. You're in this messy middle part. This messy part is where the transformation happens. And it's in the mistakes that we learn to try again. It's the not knowing that we get to ask the big questions that leads us to something new. You don't have to wait until everything makes sense. You also don't have to create this big 5-year plan to make a move. You just need a little bit of courage to take that next step. Because in this very moment, you might feel lost right now, but I can guarantee you that you're in the stage of becoming. He, she, or they are going to be so proud of you that you started now. Number 5, vision exercise, your perfect day. All right, let's have a little fun. I want you to do a gentle exercise with me. Close your eyes, unless you're driving, and ask yourself these questions. What does your perfect day look like? And I mean your dream day, not your, oh, I have a dentist appointment and I remember to take out the chicken from the freezer kind of day. No, I mean the one where you wake up feeling rested, the sun is shining through the window just right, your coffee is already magically made, maybe by your dream partner who also folded the laundry without having you to ask them. Your dog is there or your cat, or maybe you're living alone in a beautiful loft listening to jazz music, or maybe you're simply working a job that you love. You've got your favorite meal prepared on your table, you feel unbothered, moisturized, energetic, maybe you even made your bed. But what I'm trying to say is please dream big for this next part. Now, here is the second part of this exercise. This is the grounding part. What would you need to change in your life right now to slowly move toward that day? Notice that I didn't say overnight. Because unless you win a lottery or you inherit a mountain of money, this is the part that will take a lot of time. Let's just say part of your dream life includes making $100,000 a year. Okay, now let's reverse engineer that for a sec. So that is about $8,333 before taxes. Is your current job structured for you to make that kind of income eventually? Or would you need to change companies, roles, industries, or even start something of your own? What skills would make that number more accessible? Is there a creative passion that you've been ignoring that you could potentially monetize? This isn't about creating pressure and giving yourself a 12-step plan by the end of the day. This is just about saying, hey, I actually get to think about what I want my life to actually look like. We spend so much of our time surviving, coping, reacting, that we often forget that we're allowed to create a life that we actually like. Even if you're not there yet, and even if you don't have all the steps mapped out, even if your current version of a perfect day involves folding a basket of laundry uninterrupted, that is okay. Dreaming about your future is not naive. It's necessary. You can't create a life that you love without even imagining it first. So write it down, journal it, make a Pinterest board, talk to your friend about it, and then pick one small step to move towards that perfect day. And that in itself can be enough for now. Okay, this is the last one on the list. This is why showing up is important. Okay, let's have a moment of honesty. Sometimes just showing up feels like the hardest thing to do. Even when life is messy or if you have a monstrous to-do list that you have to tackle. But here's the truth that no one says enough. Showing up, even when life is messy, even when life is really hard, that is the secret. We tend to believe that motivation has to strike first, and then we'll start doing the thing. But in reality, motivation is that flaky friend who only shows up when things are fun and easy. Having the discipline, having the consistency, and just even doing the damn thing, those are the things that help build the momentum. So every time you show up for yourself, whether it's cooking that favorite meal of yours, giving yourself a pampering session when you had a really long week, even going to therapy, journaling, or choosing not to spiral at 2 a.m. You are giving yourself an opportunity to be one step closer to the person you want to become. And no, it doesn't have to be glamorous. Some days showing up looks like sending one email or even writing one sentence in your journal. It's literally not about doing it all. It's about doing something with the time and the energy and the focus that you have. These little baby steps is what will help you move forward. You might be thinking, but Andrea, I'm exhausted. What if I don't know what to show up for? Here is the truth. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start with where you are and with what you have. You can show up messy. You can show up in your pajamas. You just have to show up. And when I say show up for yourself. Don't wear your pajamas in front of your boss. Because when you do these things, you are building proof that you can trust yourself. You're building resilience. The point is you are putting in the reps to become somebody who shows up. And that's the kind of person who will eventually get where they want to go because they are putting the time, the energy, the skills. And this is all done at their own pace. So to further these exercises, you can ask yourself, what is one thing that I can show up for just for me? What are the things that you struggle with? Is it drinking enough water in the day? Sending an email that has been haunting me for the past couple months? Remembering to take a 10-minute walk every day? Saying no to things that drain me? Not being afraid to create even if no one sees it? You don't need to have this big transformation today, but it's important to make tiny acts of self-care for your future self. I can guarantee you that you're doing a lot better than you think. Trust me, I understand, because last year I lost my mom and auntie only 7 weeks of each other, and I had the worst year of my life last year. But at the end of the day, I still kept showing up to the things that mattered because I knew that my dreams and my goals were not going to fulfill themselves. Of course, I gave myself grace and I gave myself time to grieve, but I also know that if my mom was here, she would be encouraging me right now. And she would be telling me the things that she's always said to me, which is that life is too short to not go for the things that we truly love and want. So I'm not only showing up for her, but I'm showing up for myself too. And that's what matters. So if by the end of this video that no one has told you this yet, let me be the one to say it. You are not falling behind. You're learning, you're growing, you're becoming, even if it feels like a beautiful, chaotic mess most days. And if you ever found yourself Googling, what am I doing with my life at 2 a.m., please know that you're in very good company. Most of us are out here quietly trying to figure it out through our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s with mismatched socks, imposter syndrome, and a dream that we are half scared to admit out loud. So you are not alone, not even a little bit. And one day, and I truly believe this, one day you will look back and look at the version of yourself who was scared, confused, unsure, uncertain about certain things. But you're the one who still showed up anyway, and you will realize that this is what it took. This is what it took to get here. The messy stuff was all part of the becoming. If this video gave you even a little bit of clarity, comfort, or just even reminded you to breathe, I would love it if you could leave a comment below and let me know what season you're in. My goal is to build a cozy community where we can all feel seen and remind each other that we're allowed to go slow and build our own life at our own pace. And if you're in a place where that's finally possible, where you can finally grow quietly, even if your life hasn't always been able to give you that chance, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And where you are right now has so much purpose to build the groundwork for where you're going to be in the future. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I am cheering you on. I know you've got this. See you in the next one.